there, lovely. Good morning and welcome to Camnet TV's Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tapelo Joe Smata. Now, this morning we discuss nothing but education, or all things education. And to help me discuss matters that have to do with the teaching fraternity in general, seated on my far left is Mr. MISHECK KAKUNGU. He is the General Secretary for EdTUZ. And obviously, we'll be getting the meaning of those initials. Then also, seated on my immediate left is Mr. Thomas SENDOI. He is the President of EdTUZ. Gentlemen, good to see you and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay. To start with, Mr. KAKUNGU, let me begin with you. As the GS of EdTUZ, what is EdTUZ?
EdTUZ is a trade union in the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
The acronym EdTUZ stands for Educators Trade Union of Zambia.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And when was it formed?
This union was formed in 2022
Okay.
as an registered union in the process of registration, and it stayed in that process until this year, January 21st, when we received the certificate from the Labour Commissioner.
Okay.
Then from there on 21st March, on 21st February, we now received the formal recognition. We signed the recognition agreement with the government through the Ministry of Education.
Okay. And what's the role of EdTUZ?
Thank you very much. The role of EdTUZ, just like any labor movement worldwide, is to represent the interests of the employees. In this particular case, the educators, the teachers, starting from ECE, that is the early childhood education, primary, secondary, and the college of education, inclusive of the private sector.
Okay. Now, let me come to you, Mr. SENDOI. You are the president of EdTUZ. And obviously, the question that I would like to find out is that there are many teacher unions currently on the market, if you like, or in the country. But let me find out from you, what is the difference, or what difference does EdTUZ bring to the teaching fraternity?
Thank you very much, moderator. That's a very interesting question, and it's a question that actually borders on a lot of things. Most people would ask that question. That's a very wonderful one. Yeah, to begin with, EdTUZ comes on the platform of teachers in a very different way. Let me talk about how it evolved to become EdTUZ.
Okay.
It has a very strange, interesting background. EdTUZ came out of the troubled waters in the country. There was a time when a lot of teachers in different areas began talking against unions. We had what we call as Teremo, which was the teacher revolution movement, in the same space. And there was also another one which came on board, which is said Abash Teacher Union. The next one that came again was the Stop Union Contribution. And then there was another one again, Aggrieved Teachers. And then the other one, which is called Teacher Solutions, One Teacher Union, which actually later on became Advocates for One Teacher Union, where now EdTUZ is coming from.
Okay.
So you see how it happened. So it never actually came on board in the usual way, as most. After seeing that, things that now, what makes it different from its inception, from its conception? There's a difference there.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, when you look at EdTUZ, its roadmap and its mission slightly moves away from the rest. To begin with, when we look at the monthly contributions or the membership contribution, which is so minimal, that means that there is actually a different thing that comes on board there. We are not looking at getting from the members, but pushing back to the members.
Okay.
That's one thing that's different. Again, when you look at the major differences which have come on board is that we have played it in the bottom-up way of operation, where decision-making actually vests on the teachers, on the members, with the largest group that we call the council. nothing shall ever be brought on board, nothing ever shall come to the teachers without engaging them. So that they are the ones that should be able to say, this is where we have a problem. Our interests here, they are not going well. So in brief, I would say that maybe those are some of the major differences that you may have. Most of them, I'm sure the GS would also add on that one.
Okay. Now, Mr. President, let's talk about some of the challenges. What are some of the challenges that teachers face?
Among the challenges that the teachers have is that when you look at generally teachers, we find that they are actually not acquainted with the laws that govern them. And that makes them have problems in the system, how they work. You know, when you are not so much vested with what's around you, how you should handle those things becomes a problem. Even their rights, they are not so much explained to them. So the major thing that we need to bring on board, to bring back, is worker education, which currently seems not to be anywhere in the Industrial and Labour Act. Section 4, which was actually removed. So Educators Training of Zambia brings this back so that the teachers can be well versed. And then the other major problem that teachers have is that the indebtedness, which of course is very difficult to avoid that, because you need to get along. You get money, as people have been indicating, that teachers normally get loans from different places. That is not because they are weak, no, because the economic situation does not actually leave someone out of the equation. So that's one major thing, teacher indebtedness, that is there. So as a labor movement, we are trying actually to come on board to bring certain ideas that will help. Like when we talk about empowerment, that one is coming on board, that we have to see how we can work and move around so that we can bring the teachers on board, so that teachers can actually be autonomous in a lot of things than dependent only on the salaries that comes from the employer. Otherwise, those are some of the things that we may talk about.
Okay. General Secretary, let me come to you. Let's look at upgrades. There has been a concern that here's a teacher, an educator with a degree, but when they entered the system, they had a diploma. Now they've upgraded to a degree, but they're still getting, they are still on a salary scale of someone who's having a diploma. How are you going to address such issues?
All right. Thank you very much. That is actually a thorn in the flesh, and it's historical. Passed on by subsequent governments and the labor movements itself and the teachers, that we've not come up with a concrete solution to resolve. Let me lay things bare. You see, there should be planning, which is key to everything, because the way the school systems are, there is an establishment attached to each and every school. Within that establishment, it has a space for degree orders and certificate orders, and diploma orders, based on the salary scale. So, for us to embrace each and every person into a degree by upgrades, it implies then that we have to open these schools to have an establishment and a gazette with government treasury to fund those spaces. If that was to be, it would then imply that whoever obtains a degree will be automatically upgraded. There would be already a budget to cater for such. However, that may not be the situation. People go to upgrade themselves in an unconsolidated manner. There should be an understanding between the employer and those that are getting to be upgraded in terms of their qualifications, so that there is planning to that effect to absorb them as they complete. Now we are in a situation where people have upgraded, and even right now as we speak, those that were just recently recruited, they are upgrading their papers. Others already have upgraded papers, which is not on the table to look at and see how best that will have to be resolved. Now here is what EdTUZ brings on the table. We first of all must admit that we do have this as a challenge. And then on the round table, the employer and the employees through EdTUZ as a representative, we must understand the extent of this problem and the cost.
Okay.
So then EdTUZ will have to go into research to get the actual numbers of who upgraded when. Then get to the employer. This is what we have. How then are we going to dismantle this? When can this be dismantled? Given whatever funds, how many people can this accommodate? Then you come up with a roadmap. And you have to begin with who could have completed earlier so that you do things on merit. That will give relief and hope for people to know to say this year so many will be upgraded and who. The following year so many will be upgraded and who. EdTUZ work then, if such a deal is stuck, would be to ensure that we abide by what would have been resolved. Further, there is need to draw a roadmap on a study plan so that the government should understand who is studying, to plan for them so that as they complete, they are upgraded. That will lead to, that will lead to motivation. Because failure to which these teachers upgrade themselves at a higher cost and go into debts with the view that when I complete, my salary will increase. And if that does not come, then it leads to a situation of frustrations and demotivation of the teachers. Beyond that, as a labor movement, we will appeal to all the stakeholders that value education to come on board to dismantle this problem. If all were to put our concentrated effort in one basket, push in whatever funding, we can then accelerate the rate at which government would be liquidating these issues of upgrades. And we can even engage the outside stakeholders, other governments, to come on board and try to see how we can resolve this issue. So we see it as a challenge that has to bring everyone on board, come to an understanding, a roadmap, so that we can begin to follow the roadmap in dismantling the issues of upgrade.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Mr. President, let me come to you again, still on the same issue, in line with what the GS has said. Confirmations and allowances, how can this be addressed?
Yeah, confirmation and allowances, this has been a thorny issue for quite some time. And that is not to say that the subsequent governments maybe have failed, no, but it has just a very serious background. That also leverage out when you come to say that our nation is not actually very much economic sound.
Okay.
And even when the desire is there, okay, to improve the education sector by actually engaging more teachers, offloading more teachers on the market. But the issue that comes is how do we cater for them in terms of confirmation for those that are in position. That is a very tricky situation, but what is there is, as it has been, the roundtable discussion has been indicated by GS is a very cardinal one. Okay. We need to sit down with the employer. How many need to be confirmed? How many need to be upgraded? Once we do that, we'll have enough data on our fingertips, and then we'll have to make a kind of roadmap. This is how we shall go along with this. Otherwise, it is a difficult thing that sometimes we may think that maybe things are not okay out there, but it's all but borders on actually the economic stand of the nation. So that one is really a very important issue for the union to look at, since the union looks at the interest and welfare of the members. That is a key thing that we need to look at so critically with the government, with the employer at this moment.
Okay. Now, GS, let me come to you again. Now, obviously, you have identified the challenges that your would-be members, your current members, or potential members out there are currently facing. Now, what approach and value is EdTUZ bringing to its would-be members and its members, or the teaching fraternity as a whole? GS?
All right, thank you very much. What value, what difference is EdTUZ bringing to its members? You see, it would be a lie to state that there is no rebel movement.
Okay.
But the question is, do we have an effective labor movement? Do we have a labor movement that understands and operates as a labor movement should be? Because essentially, it is the members, the employees, who are supposed to represent themselves. But there are so many, and there can't be such an engagement. And hence, you have representatives to speak the minds of every other employee. That given brings us now to the difference that EdTUZ is from the others and the value that it is. EdTUZ constitution that governs, or that will have to govern this institution, was constituted by a collective of teachers across Zambia using a platform called Powerbrand. Implying then that the safety valves are told into this constitution by the masses of teachers, which is not true of some other unions, some of whom have been formed on a person's laptop alone and then takes it to the masses. Now, how good is that? One, the teachers have been crying over the overstay of certain individuals who turn these institutions into personal entities. That will be curtailed in EdTUZ, because EdTUZ has put a limit on the tenure of office. This KAKUNGU MISHECK you are seeing will not be, if he pulls through in the second term, to be GS anymore in EdTUZ. The lifespan of KAKUNGU MISHECK as GS, if he pulls through in the second term, is only 2 terms of 4 years each, which is 8 years. He needs to move forward. And that is locked. That is a trademark for EdTUZ. That clause in EdTUZ constitution is locked to the referendum of teachers to amend. Not any organ, not the council, not the executive board, not the national executive can make an amendment to such a clause. So this has been safeguarded and entrusted to the members.
Okay, just there, Mr. KAKUNGU. As General Secretary, when you do your 2 terms or you do your first term, you are not elected to the second term. What you after having been a General Secretary, you become an ordinary member?
Correct. There is a provision to that effect. My life, apart from General Secretary, full terms expired, is just that of Vice President or President, if I wish to continue and not in the same position. So it's progressive. So in such a way, no one would have to have, their lifespan reaches a point where it's no more. For example, the President is the one with the most limited lifespan in the institution. So that will allow for continuity of leadership, and it will prepare the people that are there to ensure that they bring and carry on, and ensure that they build the leadership to carry on the legacy, and to avoid a scenario where people would insist and begin to twist the constitution to suit and perpetuate their state. So that is one of the differences. Then, as the President had indicated, the resolutions, the voice that EdTUZ will present is of the teachers. Through worker education, EdTUZ will ensure that the general membership are well informed of their rights. They are well informed even on their demands. For example, we'll have to have economists to understand the economic status, who, even when we are going to bargain, they would already have told us how far we could go, not to sabotage in our demands. They will have to be research on issues to guide the members, so that even when they are advancing their demands, the demands should be within what can be attained. And as such, all of them will have to be involved in such a way, and then the voice projected, consolidated to the employer. So the members will not be in the ignorance of what is happening of their own affairs. Beyond that, it's only EdTUZ that has a constitution that has constitutionalized even the pays that all the union leaders will be getting. There is a clause in the constitution that talks of all the union employees will not get more than their equivalence in terms of what they are getting in the ministry. So that in itself is so different from the others. So they will have to get a salary that is reflective of their ministry, and that will compel them to fight better, even when they are representing others, because it affects them.
So, Mr. Kakungu, if I'm getting you clearly, make me understand. If I'm getting a 10,000, how much will I be getting from the union? If I'm getting a 10,000.
As a teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
How much will I be getting from the union?
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Here is the thing. The union will have to have employees.
Okay.
That will have to be seconded from the payroll of the minister. But they will still remain employees of the minister. And they will have to be paid by the union using the subscription that members contribute. And that's what makes them have the powers to be represented.
Okay.
So now, here is the thing. If, for example, one is at provincial level and is seconded, such a person is not expected to get beyond what their level of interaction at PO gets.
Okay.
So is the same with those at national level. They will not have to get beyond the equivalence of who they bargain with. I hope you understand they are clear. That is the context in which it is, as opposed to having hefty salaries beyond what even who they bargain with in the ministry gets. Such leads to a scenario where resources may not be equitably distributed and gotten back to other functionalities within the union structure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Mr. President, let me come to you. On the other hand, we have the teachers. On the other hand, we have the ministry, which represents government, right?
Yes.
How are you going to bridge the gap between the teachers, your members, and the ministry, which represents government, which is the Ministry of Education? How are you going to address these challenges, the plight of teachers, to the ministry? You earlier alluded to some of the challenges that the teachers go through. How are you then going to bridge this gap so that these issues are addressed on time and teachers are satisfied?
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. As we all know that unions are actually, they stand in the gap between the employer and the employees. So whatever affects the employees is actually disseminated, is taken to the employer to be looked at together.
Okay.
Now, currently, let me be very categorical here. There's a lot of information that comes from down there that most of the teachers in different areas, they're actually living in a kind of toxic environment. And that toxic environment is not even known by the employer, the Minister of Education up there. It's just something that happens between, the space between the employer and the employees, just in between here. I'll give an example. The employer and the labor unions and the employees in general, they sign some agreements. That whoever travels for this program, let's say we go from this to Lusaka, you are supposed to get this amount. And that is signed. That is off the employer. The employer has sanctioned that one. Now what happens between that employer and the employee is something else. Now this is where now the union comes in. EdTUZ comes in to monitor how things are being done as agreed with the employer. And then how does it reach the ground? If there is anything there that is in disparity, that is not proportional to what has been agreed, then the union will definitely have to move in and come in and try to see how things can be done. In a very much mature engagement, we will not be antagonistic, of course, because we know how we are dealing with teachers and we are looking at things at a very national level. So that is one way in which we are going to manage these issues. We'll definitely acquaint ourselves. There was a mention of actually carrying out research so that we have information that we can bring on board, say these are the issues that we are dealing with. We will not leave the teachers on their own. We'll always be on the ground. And that has been different with the others that have been there. Maybe they have been visiting quite all right, but somehow they haven't been reaching so far. With us, our work is on the ground so that we understand what goes on, what teachers are facing, and therefore we move in and engage the employer with the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
Maybe just to add on.
Yes.
Yes, the president has touched the aspect of a toxic working environment
Okay.
in some schools, some districts. Let me amplify on that one. When you get to higher offices, for example, PSC's office, PSMD, the reception is excellent. You feel welcome and comfortable as a professional. When you are submitting anything, it has to be submitted in two. They will even remind you, and they will stamp so that you have evidence on which to make a follow-up.
Okay.
The reception is that of a profession. That may not be the same in some schools, in some districts. The way teachers are treated as if they were children. They are not given space and the respect, the mutual respect of an employee, which could go a long way in motivating these teachers. Some administrators, head teachers, devs, they look at themselves to be bosses, to be way above teachers. They forget that they are also teachers. They started as teachers, and they are there to provide leadership and to make the others feel comfortable. The working environment should be motivating to get the maximum output of these teachers, and that will translate into quality education. So we have teachers that are actually demotivated on a number of issues, upgrade, confirmations, and now you have a head teacher or a DEBS that is bossy, who cannot give space and due respect to the teachers. That EdTUZ is coming in to ensure that we bridge the gap, so that the employer has stipulated, according to the terms and conditions of service, according to the due respect, mutual respect should prevail, so that the working environment becomes healthy for both the employer and the employees. That in itself doesn't require any funding. It's just attitude change, understanding that we are stakeholders and each one has a role to play. Then the environment will be better and everyone else will be happy, will be looking forward to getting to class, will be looking forward to getting to school, so that in itself will be something that will be done better. And to that effect, EdTUZ is actually going to exist in each and every school. Each school will have to be represented by 3 persons: the chairperson, the coordinator, secretary, and a committee member, to ensure that school administration abide and provide a conducive environment for the workers, for the teachers. The same will have to apply at zonal level, because the school system now, the education system, has a zone. So the school is governed by the zone. So we'll have to have a structure there of 7 people, and at district level, because that's where the teachers are found. So EdTUZ will concentrate much of its efforts right at the source. So the district will be more emphasized and ensure that things are attended to right at school level, because things are decentralized. The province will just be there to monitor and bridge the gap with the provincial office. And finally, NEC will pick it up and get to understand that the working environment is leveraged. That is a plus even to the employer, because the intention of the employer is to have a motivated workforce. But to some extent, it's not informed. You just find people that are frustrated and compounded by leadership that may not follow the due process of what is expected out of the mutual respect that is expected.
Okay. You have talked about a number of things there, GS. You've talked about how you're going to coordinate the activities of the union. But the question that comes is that how will you manage to run the costs of this particular union, let's say at 0.8%, as opposed to 2%, which other unions have?
That is a critical question, and it's a good one. Okay. You see, the subscription is supposed to be determined by the employees, because the employees are the employers of labor leaders.
Okay, so the members themselves?
Yes, they are the employers.
Okay.
And it's them to ensure that their representatives are well looked after, are equipped and provided with all the necessary liquidities for the functionalities, which begin right at district level.
Okay.
0.8. 0.8 might be so small by looking,
Okay.
but in principle, it may not be. The 0.8 would translate into something between 40 to 60 kwacha per teacher of varying salary scales. That is very minimal. It will have no impact on the teachers. But if you check, the Minister of Education, teachers of all government employees has the highest number. And abuse of this contribution has led to even springing up of several unions because they can just get a piece and they survive and forget their core business. The target for EdTUZ, and that teachers must appreciate, is that let's not abuse this contribution. If we all, or the majority of the teachers belong to EdTUZ, will that 0.8% be small? That would be massive money, that would be sufficient for the operations of EdTUZ. At the same time, it will provide a reciprocal valve to restrict the numbers, because if you have fewer numbers, then you will not survive, you will not manage the institution. So in a way, we'll have regulated ourselves and responded to the need of having a huge voice to represent ourselves. Beyond that, EdTUZ will not just depend on the 0.8. The President hinted on certain initiatives to empower ourselves using the power of numbers. We have the cooperative whose constitution is underway. That cooperative, using the power of numbers, teachers can resolve through the council to be contributing a certain amount to have dividends or shares in the cooperative, which will begin to respond to their financial needs. If we were to be united, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, certain issues that teachers are facing on their financial issues will be things of the past. So EdTUZ has a huge package that has to be appreciated and consolidated, responded to, embraced. Then the teaching fraternity will not be the same. It will be a true game changer.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Mr. President, let me come to you. The teachers are watching out there, and some are saying, okay, I would like to join EdTUZ. I think they're speaking to me. But what guarantee is there to would-be members out there to secure this particular change that the GS is talking about?
All right, thank you very much. That is a very important question, especially for our viewers, for our members that are out there. The GS did mention originally that how our constitution was actually promulgated. It is a child of the people. Okay? Whatever clause is there was deliberated upon by the teachers themselves. Even the 0.8% was deliberated upon. The tenure of office, every article in that constitution is actually an input from the teachers. Now, the emphasis that we have always made is that let the teachers avail themselves of the constitution. So far, our constitution is all everywhere, even to people that are not even in our platform. It's an open book. Okay, it's an open book. So we have empowered them, as we indicated earlier, in that the council, which is the largest organ, second only to the general public, general membership, it will always be on the ground. Whenever there is something, it's the council that should determine. That's the highest. So nothing will ever change. As long as the members themselves, they say nothing will change. The leadership, the National Executive Committee, has no power to change anything that is a precept of the council. Okay. So let the teachers out there be actually rest assured that they are the only people that can change anything that is in the constitution. And any teacher there has the capacity, the mandate, as long as they are members, to actually petition if they see anything that changes. So that is how it is. Things are in place, and we are really on the move. We are really serious with this revolution. We are very serious. We are not retreating. We are not going back. Quite all right, I agree that the 0.8% is not very attractive, but there are other things that are put in place. In fact, that membership fee is not there actually to facilitate everything. No. One is for membership, to create legality in the member, so that you can have a voice. Once you have paid membership, you have a voice. So actually accommodate all ideas that will be coming so that we move together with the people and then we succeed. For after all, it's for the interest of the people, of the teachers out there and their welfare. That is what is key. So there will be no change as long as the teachers remain focused. Thank you very much.
Okay. SG, let me find out. After everything is said and done, what are the benefits of one teacher out there, one educator out there joining EdTUZ?
Thank you. One benefit at entry and the successful subscription is a 1.2 coming back to your salary. Okay? If you are already a member of any existing union, you are contributing 2%. For example, salary scale J, they are contributing something like 220 or 230. So that will automatically and immediately drop to less than 60 kwacha. So that is a serious gain to each and every member. That is the same with all the other salary scales. Secondly, you are joining a union that empowers you to have your voice heard and to have a say. As we speak, we are pleased to see some of our members that we've never met on our platforms submitting things that are getting adopted almost immediately. For example, the slogan for EdTUZ that was emanated from Northern Province, Mungu district in particular, yesterday, right there and then adopted. And so the teachers are resonating with the constitution, just reading it. It's so inspiring. And they are taking up the mantle. That is the benefit. Everyone else will feel a sense of belonging. And they will have to be assured that their voice will be heard. Because they will have joined a union that recognizes and that understands that they are more important than the leaders that be.
Okay. Now, SG, you still on you, before the president comes in, you talked about forming a cooperative. You are well traveled yourself. Even the president here, you have been to other African countries, and you have heard that some cooperatives are owned by teachers, educators. And these particular cooperatives, you find that they own a unit of flats. They own, their members are well-to-do, they are well taken of through the cooperative that was established under a union, a teachers' union, and they are doing exceptionally well. They go to class, they are motivated, their lives are okay. Let me find out from you, is this the vision that EdTUZ has for its members when it comes to, let's say, the issue of housing units, for instance, for teachers? This has been a thorny issue, like you are putting it. It has been a thorny issue where teachers are sent to a particular province, district. You find that housing becomes a challenge for these teachers, and they are not really motivated to go and teach because they're coming from, they're sleeping in a classroom, and they're expected to be motivated, and this has been a challenge. How are you going to address that?
Thank you very much. You are speaking the mind of EdTUZ. However, let me be quick to mention that the issue of cooperatives is not new. Of a union. We've had unions that have preached in a wake of wishing to win members. And they have made certain strides that have failed to succeed. Because the intention could have not been genuine. With EdTUZ, traveling to other countries is in different forms. We've explored, even through research. And as I stated earlier, we are not just preaching the cooperative model, but as we speak, in fact, underneath, if there would be directors to be appointed and employed, number one is the director cooperative. Director research, because those we understand they are instrumental and they are key, and we need these established. EdTUZ as a union will exist and it will have subsidiary companies or entities in the cooperative. So quickly as possible, say in the next 3 months, we need to have the cooperative registered, a multiple cooperative registered for EdTUZ. To attend to the needs of the teachers in terms of finances, where we could have soft loans with very minimal rates, more or less like a revolving fund. Within the union.
Okay.
As we stop the appetite or the need to go for exorbitant rates, as we reduce the debt burden within our teachers. We'll have to engage on to entrepreneurship skills, financial redress, so that the teachers are empowered and the union is equally doing a business for the teachers. The teachers are also doing business and making money through the cooperative and getting dividends, which they will not have to borrow, but that will be their own money. So that will be the life plan. Given everything equal, and if the teachers will embrace this, support this, because remember, it will not be sustained without the numbers. It's about a mindset change and facing the problem instead of facing each other. And no competition, but facing the reality. So that we can have a teaching fraternity that would retire people to add value to be employers. We need to be teachers that would be employing others and adding value to the nation. So that's the approach, and we are very serious on that one, and we are working massively on that one, and definitely we are coming on board with that mind. Let me be also quick to mention that the existence of EdTUZ, through the movement that we've moved in our history, has made massive change on some of the existing unions.
Okay.
The aspect of the loans, the aspect of housing units, all those have been brainchild ideas of EdTUZ. And advocates for one teacher union, we were able to demonstrate how much is amassed by the 2%, and illustrate that some unions go in a month with maybe 5 million, which is quite a lot of money, and it could do a lot for the teachers. And such an amount, if properly utilized and not abused, could have huge benefits for the teachers, and that is not done. EdTUZ will actually take advantage to make the teachers get resolved to start dismantling their own problems. So it will be a homegrown kind of scenario, resolving of problems. We must understand, get to the round table, face the challenge, and together we will achieve.
Okay. Mr. President, you wanted to come in?
Oh, yes, please. Yeah, I'll first begin with the issue of the welfare of the teachers. I wanted to say that the welfare of the teacher is not only the employer who should actually be concerned with the welfare of the teachers,
Okay.
the labor unions as well. That is also our package. We have to come on board and see to it that the teachers are well cared for. That's now the cooperative issue comes in, and other avenues that we are going to look at. Yeah, I wanted also the other part to substantiate on the issue of how EdTUZ is going to empower the teachers by actually using the 0.8%. Now, I want to be very much mathematical and clear. We are saying that if someone is in scale F currently, according to the other union of 2%, they actually subscribe 122 kwacha 30 per month. Okay? But for EdTUZ, it's 48 kwacha 92. Meaning that using mathematics, we realize that there is in a year 888 back to the teacher.
Okay.
Okay? When it go to G is in a similar way, in a year 949 back to the teacher. We're just getting a little. We are seeing what actually teachers are facing.
So 949 kwacha,
yes,
or 1,000?
49 kwacha,
Okay.
949 kwacha back to the teacher. When you go outside, H is 1,025 kwacha back to the teacher.
Okay.
And yet EdTUZ just gets 56 kwacha. In scale I is 1,316 back to the teacher. Then scale J, 1,622 back to the teacher.
Okay.
And then the last one, if you go to K, 2,118 back to the teacher. While EdTUZ retains 117. So that is the way in which we have creatively empowered our teachers to put back some bread on their table because of the economic that has been so harsh in the country. Now comes the cooperative now that should cushion even the operations of the labor movement. That's what I wanted to add on this one.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, as we begin to wind up, let me find out from you, the GS, before I even do that, if there are any teachers out there, viewers, please come through and ask your questions and seek clarification from the two able gentlemen here coming from EdTUZ. GS, let me come to you. What is your appeal to would-be members already that have subscribed to EdTUZ, and other stakeholders? What is your appeal?
Thank you very much. We have a slogan that was created by one of our colleagues who says, without EdTUZ, don't join any union.
Okay.
Now, my response to it is that without teachers, all that has been put across then will be in vain. In short, without teachers and masses of teachers joining EdTUZ, there will be no EdTUZ. It will just be a good idea that will just go to the grave. So the appeal is that let us not join EdTUZ for the sake of joining. Let us study the constitution that has been unveiled, which is not seen of other unions. Let us understand the vision so that together we can join our hands in facing the challenge that the teaching fraternity is facing. So that together we can uplift our profession. Together we can be of a great benefit to the country. So the appeal then is that let us all consider joining EdTUZ with the consent, not being compelled, and EdTUZ will protect your space. EdTUZ together with you will protect your rights that are constitutional, so that we can move as a teaching profession and as mentors of all that are existing in the country. That's the appeal that we are making as EdTUZ. And on behalf of myself as General Secretary of Educators Trade Union of Zambia.
Okay. Mr. President, your appeal to the members out there, would-be members, and other stakeholders.
Thank you very much. To our members, let me admit that as membership, we had reached a level where having a labor union became a liability. Now, we want to appeal to all the members that, and those that wish to join, and those that will join definitely, that we are going to work together to traverse along this problem that has been there. We cannot do it alone on an isolated table. We need the membership, as they are the creators of the labor movement. If you check in section 5 of Industrial Labor Act, it's actually the members that come together and make this union and choose leaders to represent them. So we are really going to work hard together with the members to come up with what is best for us in order to improve our welfare and also to protect our interests. When it comes to EdTUZ, resigning, we have given it very free. If you feel that after some time EdTUZ is no longer answering to my call, you are free actually to resign. That's how the law allows. You can either join or you come out. There is no problem. We are not actually sealing. We are not locking the doors. But the members themselves will have to evaluate and see whether what they are looking for has been found. But let's be rest assured that what you are looking for will be found in EdTUZ. As to our cooperative partners, stakeholders out there, please, we are asking that let everyone come on board in order to look at the welfare of the teachers and see to it that they rebuild their image. I can assure you, moderator, that the image of the teachers of recent in the out there is not very pleasant. They look at teachers as people that have no direction, as people that are doing things that they shouldn't do. But there, we assure you that together with EdTUZ and the members, we are definitely going to make a change. That is our promise to the stakeholders and to the general public in the communities. That is my submission.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we go to our Facebook page, and Mr. Ruben Bisenga Arabi is tuned in. Thank you so much. Mr. Jonas Kaveta is also tuned in. Mr. Stanford J. Monga, Madam Maureen Mlenga Mwema, Mr. Devi Bishonga, Mr. Andrew Bismarck Kosam, Mr. Langford Chuma, Mr. Jabu Lavix. And we have some comments here. Mr. Sakala says, following keenly. Mr. Langford Chuma says, go on my GS. And Mr. President, I'm following. Mr. Ruben Bisenga says he's watching from Mongu, Kwahai. Thank you so much to all our viewers out there, and thank you so much for engaging on our socials. Thank you so much. We're also live on YouTube as well. Gentlemen, let me give you less than 30 seconds for your concluding remarks. I'll start with you, JS. Your concluding remarks.
Thank you very much. In conclusion, as teachers, let the power in us be actualized.
Okay.
The power in us is consolidated into the Zambian Constitution. It's consolidated into the Industrial and Labor Relations Act. It's consolidated into all the pieces of registrations that govern employees and in specific teachers.
Okay.
On top of that, we have Educators Trade Union Constitution. Let us inform ourselves. Let us study so that we can make informed decisions and we begin to make that difference that big. We are just getting started and we have quite a number of challenges to hit the road running. There is no institution that can ever exist without mobility, without office space. For us to get to our members and bring all our leaders to a round table for orientation so that we can exhibit the maturity, the understanding to trickle down to the others.
Okay.
All the stakeholders that would find EdTUZ viable to be an answer that can contribute in the Zambian space. Only the teachers that matter so much, that handle all the entire nation through the children that are educated, come on board. Will actually be there to accept such kind of support so that we can hit the road running and accelerate the rate at which EdTUZ should get established. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, GS. Mr. President, your concluding remarks?
Yeah, thank you very much. To begin with, I would like to say that our members, or the teachers in general, let us protect our space.
Okay.
Let us rebuild the confidence that the community had on the teachers in the past years. Let us see to it that we understand the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, the Industrial and Labor Relations Act, and the Constitution of EdTUZ. For those that are joining, please, before you make up your decision, read the Constitution. Our Constitution is available everywhere. You can get it at any point. We are not hiding our Constitution. Let's read and understand what is there in the Constitution and what is it that you are going to do for the labor movement. That's my final word. Please, I appeal also to the new teachers that are coming on board. Do not join before you understand what you are joining in. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Evans Banda says, go, EdTUZ. Mr. Kelly Zinsokolo says, EdTUZ, the way to go. Thank you so much for those comments, and thank you so much for tuning in. Gentlemen, let me thank you most sincerely for coming through to Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show. We can only wish you all the best, and hopefully you will keep on updating us as this union keeps on progressing. You will definitely come back and tell us more.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so there you have it, viewers. These were my two guests. Seated on my far left, it's Mr. MISHECK KAKUNGU. He is the General Secretary for EdTUZ, and on my immediate left is the President, Mr. Thomas SENDOI, joining us this morning, discussing everything that has to do with the teaching fraternity as they launched the union, the Educators Trade Union of Zambia, known as EdTUZ. Thank you so much to all the viewers out there, and thank you to my director for the extra minutes. Now, on behalf of my director again, I'm Tapelo, Joe Smarter. We'll see you when you see us. Good morning and God bless.